أخي صبرا على ألم الفراق.
Binyam made reference to the ERF team, the ERF, the Immediate Reaction Force, or the, was it the? Emergency Reaction Force. Those of us we only simply knew it as the ERF teams. And they are people who are dressed in riot gear and barge into a cell and subdue the prisoner, sometimes spraying him with pepper spray, smashing him to the ground, shackling him and taking him off to one of the MSU units, or the maximum security units. The people who were in charge or involved in doing that were guards, or military policemen, as we used to call them. Who we have here today with us is a former military policeman, but he is an exceptional one. You may have known that at the beginning of this year I toured with one of the former Guantanamo guards called Chris Arendt. But who I have here, Mustafa Terry Holdbrooks, is somebody who accepted Islam in Guantanamo. And his story, we thought, was going to be only about that experience, until yesterday, when he tried to enter the United Kingdom of Great Britain, the land of habeas corpus, where no man is wronged. He was detained at the airport, and detained all night until they put him into Holdbrooks Detention Center, and held there until we fought for his release and brought him over here. And the people who fought for him include, and I don't know if she's here, but Sister Natalia from Tyndallwood, who's also one of the sponsors of this event. I'd just like to say that she did an extraordinary job, along with many other people, and you know who you are, and I'd like to thank you, all of you, in person, for doing what was the right thing, and that was to push this government from doing something that was going to be extremely embarrassing if he wasn't allowed to be brought here. Mustafa Terry Holdbrooks is one of the few people who has taken the courageous step of, whilst being a guard in Guantanamo, speaking out against the place, and his experiences are quite unique and unforgettable. Mustafa.
Bismillahir-Rahmanir-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum, everyone.
Thank you.
That's quite an intro. Thank you. Thank you. I actually wasn't going to talk about my detainment. I was just going to leave that out. Suppose strategically, if it was planned, I guess it's kind of great that I'm coming up and talking now. I usually talk for about 2 hours when I speak. And I try to be lighthearted. I try to make the audience laugh, have jokes, have a good time. If you're not having a good time, then I'm probably doing something wrong. So I suppose it's particularly great right now because I'm feeling really, really down. It's been a lot of serious discussion this evening about a lot of matters that unfortunately not enough people are really doing anything about. It's great to see some of the brothers, particularly some that are in my book that I've written. Inshallah, it'll be out by the end of this month. It's good to see you all, actually. It's good to be back. It's good to see that you're out. We still have more to get out, so let's do what we can. I kind of want to start off apologizing on behalf of the entire Bush administration for 8 years of failure. A lot of people call it a war on terror. I don't call it a war on terror. We made up the terrorists. There weren't terrorists. We made them up. It's a war on error. That's what it was. One great big error. So tonight I'm supposed to be talking about how Islam affected my life. Is that it?
Whatever you want.
What am I labeled as doing?
Well, you're supposed to be talking about what it's like to be a guard in Guantanamo.
Oh, what am I saying? Okay. What's it like to be a guard in Guantanamo? It's very monotonous to be a guard in Guantanamo. You find throughout the day doing the same thing over and over each day, it grows tiresome real quickly. You know, it's 98 degrees outside, 90% humidity. It's a miserable environment to be in. You don't want to be there. You're around individuals who aren't speaking English, whether they don't know English or they claim they don't know English, and then you end up finding out in the end that they actually do know English because you've been talking with them for a couple months. Anyway, it was monotonous. It started off kind of awful. I was very fortunate. Growing up in America, the American educational system is very biased. We don't teach an honest opinion of history. We teach what we want our children to know about history. So I didn't learn anything about the Ottoman Empire. I didn't learn anything about the Armenian genocide. I didn't learn anything about Islam at all. It's just not taught in our schools. We don't know about it. Come to think of it, I'm pretty sure the first time I ever saw a Muslim was 2003 when I arrived in Guantanamo. I was 21 years of age at that point in time. So for 21 years living in America, I'd never once seen a Muslim. I was very fortunate to not have any knowledge about it because I've always had a thirst for knowledge. And to see a faith taken so seriously and so significant, so important in the lives of individuals who don't know why they're there, who have no reason for being there, who have no rights whatsoever, to see them waking up each day and smiling, making jokes, perhaps rapping Eminem lyrics or other things. It was great to see that they still had such high spirits and high hopes. And it kind of made me kind of wonder to myself, what is it in my life growing up that I didn't have, that they have? Why are they happy and able to wake up each day and smile here, and I can't? Why am I waking up and this is just miserable to me? I was very fortunate because I went down there with open eyes and open mind. And I left Guantanamo as a Muslim. I converted on January 29th, 2003 with Al-Marri I believe we were actually on S block at that point in time. If I ever wanted to have intelligent conversation about ethics, politics, morals, religion, history, even if I just wanted to talk with somebody, just like you're talking to your best friend or your friend for a long time, I wasn't talking with guards. My entire unit hated me. I wasn't the guy who hated the dirt farmers like the rest. I wasn't the guy who thought these are the worst of the worst. I wasn't the guy who was making fun of prayer. I was the guy who was asking, what is prayer about? I was the guy who was asking, where were you from? What was life like in your country? And in doing that, that kind of singled me out. My entire company made it known to me on a number of occasions, both physically, verbally, and written reprimands as far as the military is concerned, that having any interest, care, sympathy, concern, etc. for the detainees is an absolute wrong thing to do. These are the worst of the worst. These are scum of the earth. Why are you talking to them? Why do you want to know about them? Well, if you're going to tell me that I have to hate somebody, you have to give me a pretty good reason. And the Army has failed to do that. America has failed to come up with a good reason. So I say I'm fortunate to have been to Guantanamo and to have gone down there with an open mind because it certainly changed my life. Wow. Ooh. Man, you brought up a lot of seriousness. I haven't made a single joke yet. This is awful. I wish I could think of a knock-knock joke or something.
Carry on.
As touched on earlier, we all have things that we can do. Allah has blessed me with the ability to write. I've wrote a book about Guantanamo, as many others have written a book about Guantanamo. I've sent the book to Ahmed Irachidi, and he has read over it. He loved it. He wrote a foreword for my book. If you would like information about it when it's coming out, inshallah, as I said, it should be out by the end of September. We're trying to raise the rest of the money for the publication. I'm working with a sister in our community, Sister Zora Sawari. She's running Aman Publishings. So it's not going to be some big, faceless company getting the money and getting rich and doing what they want with it. It's going to be me. And I'm going to be giving it back to people who need it, back to organizations who need it, back to families who have fathers that are not there. Outside of that, being a guard in Guantanamo is probably one of the most shameful things I've ever done. I didn't have a choice in the matter, and all I can say is that I'm happy I never had to participate in the IRF. I'm happy that I was the one guard that went down there and decided to be nice and compassionate, to be sympathetic and to learn instead of turning a blind eye. If anything, I certainly gained the most. I found Allah. Assalamu alaikum.